Would you say that I'm crazy? Or insane? The disease sharpened my senses instead of destroying them. Mostly it was my hearing that was improved. Why then would you call me crazy? But now you'll see how perfectly I can tell you my story. I really love the old guy. He was never mean to me. I think it was just his eye. Yes, it was that. It was his eye. He had a very big, very pale blue eye. Vulture eye, as I'd like to call it. And it gave me an eerie sensation whenever it fell upon me. So I decided to solve my problem with killing the old man. Now you definitely think I'm crazy by now, but if you were to see me, I was so calm. I acted so wisely. I was extremely nice to him the entire week before I killed him. Every night, around midnight, I opened his door very slowly. It was really funny, actually, how I would then peek my head into his room and make sure he was asleep. Then I'd creep into the room and watch. Wouldn't a crazy person have done differently? But I always found that both of his eyes were closed. I did this for 7 consecutive nights, and he never had it open. And every morning I would talk to him so that he wouldn't suspect me of spying on him as he slept. So how did you sleep last night?
Good. Why do you ask?
No reason. Just interested.
Oh. Can you pass the milk?
So I kept going into his room to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect night. I always left the door just a little open, just wide enough so that I can see him, so that I can see his eye, and so that he could not see me. On the 8th night, I did the same process. I pushed the door open, and I crept in steadily. It was funny to think of him dreaming about anything except me and what I was doing at that time. I must have laughed at that idea, for suddenly he shifted his body and woke up abruptly and cried out into the room.
Who's there?
I stood there, waiting, until he would fall asleep once again. I must have stayed there for a whole hour. He was still awake. I never heard his head hit the pillow, listening for the slightest of sounds to answer his question.
It's nothing. Just the sound of a loud TV. Yeah, that's it.
I waited a bit longer. I assumed he fell asleep by then. I turned on my flashlight, and from the harsh light that emitted onto his face, I saw it. It was his vulture eye, and it was wide open. I tried to resist my rage. It was bottling up inside me. The persistent sound of a beating heart started up. It's like the drum that boosts the soldier's morale during battle. It became louder and louder. It was definitely going to burst. It was time. Surely it would burst now. With a yell, I flicked on the lights and dived upon him. He screamed, but I immediately had him after that. I threw the old man to the floor and flipped his bed on top of him. The beating heart went on for a short while after that, but it eventually died down. It stopped, and the old man was finally dead. He wouldn't drive me crazy anymore. If you still think that I'm insane, you won't think it after what I did to conceal the crime. I worked most of the night. I cut the body into pieces in the bathtub. No sign of struggle and no blood. The head, the arms, legs, all taken off. I hid them in a bag under the living room floor. Nobody would be able to find them, ever. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I asked, "How can I help you, officers?"
One of your neighbors heard a scream and felt worried. Has anything of the sort happened tonight, sir?
Oh, of course not. You can even look around if you feel you must. And so they searched the entire house. I led them to every room, even his room. I showed them his precious things, too. They were convinced that nothing had gone wrong. I sat them down in the living room after they were done. They were right above the body. I was so calm and smart about it. They started talking. Soon they became comfortable and started laughing and telling stories. They made small chat with me, and that was alright for some time, but I soon grew weary of their presence. I was getting anxious just by the sight of them. A faint sound started up in my head. They continued on with their pleasant chat. They wouldn't leave. They were mocking me. Surely they heard the sound. Their smiles were sickening me. Again, louder. I confess, I killed the old man, and he's here under the floorboards where you sit.